Blue Jay fans, we are that close. About a week and a half until first pitcher. Rogers Center between the Jays and the Orioles in game 1 of 162. I think we're starting to get a little interested, right? We're starting to get a little frisky. Guys are starting to get more playing time. The pitchers are allowed to go a little bit longer in games, so things are getting interesting. I'm not going to break down too much of the games themselves. I'm going to talk about individual players, what we've been seeing, and that kind of stuff. And then if there's anybody that I did not mention, it's for you guys to go nuts in the comments. Also, Jays fans, if you want to follow up the BlueJaysCentre podcast brought to you by the Sick Podcast Network, the link is down below for that. We'll be doing another podcast. Rob and I will be doing an interview with Sportsnet 590 The Fans, Ben Ennis, on Friday. It'll be a lot of fun. Love to see you guys out there. And Cole did a Keegan Matheson interview. Great stuff there. Go check it out on the whatchamacallit, the YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button. Join the crew, and let's see how big we can grow that thing, shall we? All right, but let's get into this stuff. The link is down below for all that. I don't care about spring training anymore. Results obviously don't mean a damn thing. We're going to quickly rip through them, obviously. So we talked Sunday when the Jays won 13-9 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Then they beat the Astros 8-3. They beat the Twins 3-2. They beat the Orioles 6-4. Then they lost to the Astros 6-5. Lost to the Cardinals 9-5. Then beat the Braves today 6-2. I'm not going to break down everything, but like I said, I'm going to talk about certain players that jumped out to me. And I'm going to start with today, because Jose Barrios has had I wouldn't say uneasy spring. Right, you look at his numbers before today's start in the spring, and he was fine. Right, 2 and 2/3 of 1-run ball. Did allow a homer. He's allowed a couple homers in his starts. His last outing against the Rays allowed 3 runs over 4 innings. But today against a no good Braves lineup, but 6 innings, 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 7. Had the stuff working today. Looked really good, and he was allowed to go 6 innings. So he's really starting to build his stuff up. I'm just going down the pitchers list here to start. Jake Bloss, we talked about him to start. He had an awful time. But his last outing, very good against the Houston Astros. 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, and 5 punch-outs against his former team. I think he was pitching that spring breakout game. I don't know if that was that game. Did well there as well. Good stuff, right? Bowden Francis has had a rough start to the spring. Not fun to watch. But again, it's spring training. Kevin Gausman, the velo's up. We talked about that last week. The velo has been up on him, and it's very exciting to see. He's had 2 starts. He'll probably be starting tomorrow or something. Pitching wise, not much else to touch on really. I don't really want to touch on more or less any of the regular players, because let's talk about Andrés Giménez, because he's actually impressed me. He hit his first homer with the Jays today against the Braves. I mean, he's hitting 273, 365, 368 OBP after this game. Again, it's spring training numbers, but you're like what you're seeing from your everyday second baseman. Defensively, he's made some really nice plays, and it's just a lot of fun to watch, man. He really is a lot of fun to watch play defense. Now, let's get to the young guys, because that is what's turning Jays fans' heads right now in spring, and that's really what spring training is all about. It's about the guys getting ready to go, but they don't really care. But it's about the younger guys and kind of the fringe dudes, basically getting their name out there. And for Blue Jay fans, there's a few guys I want to talk about. One, Alan Roden, just because he just continues to rake. He had another hit. Was it 1 hit today? Let me check that right quick for you guys. He had 1 hit. Drove a couple runs in, just doing his thing, hitting 421 with a 586 OBP in the spring, just right where he left off last year. He's been outstanding. Played center field today because they really want to test him a little bit. So I think the eyes are wide for Alan Roden. But for me, it's on the mound. And yes, we got to see Jake Bloss. A lot of fun. But there's 2 guys. There's 2 guys that we're all itching to see more of. And that is Trey Savage. Obviously, first-round pick last year. All elite stuff. He was electric. Wasn't he? If you watch that spring breakout outing that he had, I think he struck out the side in his second inning of work, touched like 96.5 or something. He was really good. Also, Jake Bloss, the talk about him last year was the velo was at 93, 94. He's touched 97 in the spring so far. Is that just adrenaline? I don't know, but exciting stuff. And the other guy is somebody who is not at the height of Alan Roden, Arjun Namala, who's been great as well in the spring. And Trey Savage. No, Kendry Rojas, the lefty, is a machine. He was dominating Vancouver last year in advanced A-ball. I think he's, 21 years old. And he'll probably start the year at Double-A and kind of go from there. he was hitting 97 from the left side. We've seen with guys like Yusei Kikuchi, and you can pound that, and his slider is elite. It kind of gives you that Robbie Ray type of feel to him. He's elite. And watching him and Trey Yesevich pitch, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know, something like that. It's fun. Because we've talked so often about the Jays pitching staff, right? How old they are with Gausman. Barrios is okay, but he's getting there. Gausman, Bassett, Max Scherzer now. They're all old. So where's this homegrown talent? Well, Alek Manoah is returning from Tommy John surgery. He's throwing now, which is so awesome to see. I don't think he's pitching the game or anything. He just did a side session or something. Let me quickly check that for you guys. Did he? Right, first mound session since his surgery a couple days ago. He threw a bullpen session, which is just awesome to see for him. And, hopefully he's back at some point this year as a young arm. And then you have a guy like Trey Savage, maybe a Jake Bloss and Kendry Rojas coming through the minor leagues. It's kind of exciting to see because you want to partner that with a guy like Jose Barrios in his later years. And I'm curious to see what happens, but watching those two guys go out there a couple days ago and cook is just very, very fun. But I don't want to talk about this too much more because, again, it's at that point of the spring where I could care less. I like seeing the young players go out there and do well. Orelvis Martinez is another name that's kind of piquing people's interest. And let's be honest, the Jays need some of that. They need some young talent to come up and just slug. They need a Davis Schneider type thing to happen to them. Maybe not to that extent, but something like that. Because all this old players they have, the George Springers, and all of your everyday players, like you know what Dalton Varsho is, you know what George Springer is, you know what Bowie, you know what Vladdy, for the most part, are going to give you. You have a good idea of what Andres Jimenez is going to give you. You know what Kirk's going to give you. But where's that extra punch? Where's that surprise that we've really never gotten? You had it with Davis Schneider for like half a year. It was fun. I think it got you into playoffs. But in the end, you kind of knew what Davis Schneider was. Now, can he change this year and beat? We'll see. But I'm excited to see what moves forward with guys like, Alan Roden, a guy like Orelvis Martinez on the pitching side. I've already mentioned the names. That's what I'm looking forward to watching the next week and a bit here of spring training. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and are jacked up for real freaking baseball to start on March 27th, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. You guys not done so already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, thoughts on this past week's games if you want to talk about it, who impressed you, who did not impress you, any of you guys you're looking forward to watching moving forward here for the next week and a bit. All your thoughts down below. Twitter, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff is down below as well. So follow up there if you haven't done so already. I will talk to you guys. Raptors position tonight. 6 o'clock tip-off. Raptors in Portland against the Blazers. 6 o'clock. We'll see how that goes. Leafs, 7:30, back in action. Calgary at home. We'll see. At 7:30. And for the Blue Jays, next Sunday. Recapping this upcoming week spring training games for the last time. Can't wait. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and are jacked up for freaking real baseball to start. Talk to you guys then.